how does a business continuously create legacy? I think you talked a little bit about it earlier, but you said it's a daily thing.
Yeah, and this is, I think, the hardest part of the book. It's the last chapter. The transformation here is that evolution in the past would happen episodically. You'd have somebody come up with an innovation, and you'd apply it, and then you put your R&D to work, and if you had another innovation, you'd find the right time to apply it. But today, what we're seeing with modern legacy brands is this constant evolution, and I think a lot of people have a hard time keeping up with that because it requires a diligence. It requires daily practice. It requires sticking to your values. Sometimes that's very difficult because it might leave money on the table for the time being, for the long-term vision. But the example I'd love to point to, Kodak. So I think it was in 1976, there was a Kodak engineer who cracked the code on digital film or digital camera making. And they buried the innovation because it would have upended their entire industry, and they were developing film. And why would you put out a product that would shoot yourselves in the foot? You can't do this anymore because they got away with that for a while, maybe another decade or two, but it caught up with them, and Kodak is a struggling brand. It still exists, and they're still trying to find their identity. But had they made the hard choice to put digital cameras out at that time and be the leader, who knows what Kodak would be today. The brands that we highlight in the book in chapter 5 about being perpetual, have to make those hard choices every day. The example that I love from that chapter is the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we have several athletic organizations throughout the book, the Belmont Stakes, Toronto Maple Leafs, Wimbledon. But the Toronto Maple Leafs are trying to build a legacy team, a modern legacy team from the ground up, and that started with the management, the coach, the players, and it's a long-term process in a sports dynasty building world. You can't just, sometimes people try and buy their way to a championship. They've decided to build from the ground up. And the leader there, the coach, has talked about every day we have to be adhering to the values that we're building towards. And that means you can't get that winning shot in the championship if you're not practicing that winning shot every day. It's not going to go in if you don't know how to make the shot. So that's the metaphor I kind of love is with brands having that opportunity, that shot to get to the championship. It requires not only the practice but then consistently delivering in the game day after day.